Hello, this is episode 1 of my short little podcast talking about topics for empowered women for my project. And also, I want to just educate people on topics that maybe aren't talked about as much because of the severity of them. This one is going to be about sexual assault, so trigger warning within this. However, it's still very important to talk about, and there are always resources for you to speak out about what's happened or maybe get some comfort in the fact of going through your emotions and processing it. One of the major things I want to talk about today is the fact that sexual assault is more common on college campuses than most people expect. I believe, do not quote me, it's somewhere around 1 out of 5 women, which when you look at how huge campuses are, that's a lot of women, and this is only reported cases. So this goes to show that there's much more that's not reported because the system doesn't help women as much as it should. And it's really hard for victims to find comfort a lot of times and that strength to speak out. And the fact that people do sit there and really try to, lower the validity of their events is truly sickening. Sexual assault does not mean that it has to be complete and utter rape. Being sexually harassed in this sense can mean being at work and a coworker maybe tells you sexual comments all the time, knowingly, acknowledging the fact that it makes you upset or makes you uncomfortable, or the fact that you've maybe spoken out and saying hey, I find this really uncomfortable and I do not appreciate it. It can also look like professors may be sexualizing you or looking at you in a nasty way or treating, girls with the attractive body type better than those without. Sexual assault literally can go in many different forms. It can be verbal, it can be physical, it can be emotional. There's so many aspects that get into it. A lot of sexual assault happens within households. However, we're talking about college, so I will talk about that on another video. But a lot of the times, college kids, this does not have to be just women. Men experience sexual assault as well. They do not want to speak up because a lot of times the system is not in their favor. Universities have told women a lot of times that it's their fault for their abuse when they come out with it, and kind of made them feel like they don't have a resource there, when at college you should have every resource available to you, whether it's mental health or education or financial. College should set you up for life. And this is one of the things that I'm hoping I can aid in this world to change eventually when I've graduated and I can try to build a platform for myself. I want to be a clinical child psychologist, and if I can, I want to specialize in children who have been sexually assaulted, which is a very difficult topic, of course, but that is why I'm so passionate about it. Because not a lot of people are comfortable talking about these hard things, and it should be destigmatized. You should be able to talk about these things. It's such a life-shattering thing that happens to so many people on a daily basis, that there should be no shame in talking about your abuses or situations that you don't know if they're abuse or not, and really coming to terms with your emotions and kind of where you sit with everything. So the major point that I wanted to get through in this video today was that your experience of sexual assault is valid no matter how severe it is. It doesn't have to be the most intense level. Even if it's the bottom base level to what you think, it is still important, it still matters, and there are forever resources and people that you can reach out to. Here on my CSU Pueblo campus, I will have my information posted on my website I've created as a resource if anybody needs to talk about it. I know I'm not qualified to give, really sound advice. However, I've gone through sexual assault, and talking to people who have been through similar things as I have is comforting to me. So I will always be that resource for other people if they feel that they need somebody to talk to who's not a therapist, who's not a psychologist, who isn't going to give you, a diagnosis. You want to talk to somebody who's been through a shared experience and not feel judgment and not feel so scared, because talking about your abuse is hard. It forever will be hard. It's easier for some people. It's really hard for others who can't even fathom the idea of talking about it. But that is why we need to create platforms that allow women and allow men and allow everybody to be able to talk about what's going on in their lives, so that they can feel comfortable in their emotions and their feelings and their growing. It is just extremely important to learn that you should always have somebody to back you up in situations like sexual assault, sexual abuse. It's such a horrific thing, and it's so sick that it happens to people so often. But that does mean that we need to create amazing resources to support those who have gone through that. Never judge a victim. Never try to discount their abuse. Never ever try to make them feel bad for what's happened, because it's not their fault. It's the abuser's fault, point blank. And if you have ever gone through sexual abuse, you know that sometimes people do like to say, you know it's not your fault. I personally knew it wasn't my fault. However, some people are leaned into thinking that it is their fault with, the questions popping up like, what were you wearing? Or you must have led him on, or all these things. It's like, no, abuse happens because of the abuser, not because of the person who was abused. It's so sickening to me that people are so judgmental when, young females come out about abuse and they try to, lower the validity of what's happened to them. And I think that needs to be changed. I will talk about some more topics here in a few more videos and go into depth with some journal articles and statistics and all of that stuff, just to prove that I do know what I'm talking about, and I want to be educated when I speak on such topics. But I appreciate you guys for tuning into this one, and there will be more to come. Thank you.